This year's theme is taking a stand. How do you think those people who chose to protest against the Vietnam War match that theme?
Of taking a stand. People were very passionate in that time because it directly affected them. There were draft numbers, and people, if their draft number was low enough, they would most certainly be called into service and most certainly be sent to Vietnam. I think people's passions are ignited when it directly affects them. And it was in our living room. It was on television. So everybody knew aspects of the war. Certainly your belief system was set by reflections within your family. So for example, if you had grandparents that were serving in the war, their families would be very, very supportive of the war, perhaps. There were many families that did not have military attachments and were fearful that their sons or husbands would be sent away to this very, very far away place to fight. There was some, did you buy into the philosophy of why we were fighting the war versus did you not buy into that philosophy, appeared to be the tipping point. Right. So I think it's definitely fits the theme.
Right.
So my first question is, what made you protest against the war?
I think my brother was a factor. He is 18 months younger than I am, and he could be selected to go to the war. He was a student, so had a student deferment at the time. I would have to say colleges at that time were swollen with huge numbers of students that maybe otherwise would not have gone to college, except that deferred them from having to go into military service. So, I would say it was a personal connection. And then there were many in my college dorm and on campus who were very passionate anti-war activists.
Were there groups of meetings of people prior to the march at KU that would get together and plan for that kind of thing, or was it more?
I'm sure there was, because there were huge numbers that would march on Jayhawk Boulevard, is the main street on campus, and the numbers were very big. So I'm sure they met. I was not personally involved in the planning or staging. And, I'd have to say I probably had mixed emotions about the war. My dad was a firm believer in Johnson's domino effect, where, if Southeast Asia falls, then it will, like dominoes, fall, and all of Southeast Asia will be under communist rule. That was his stand on it. You heard, because being in a college setting, you're exposed to so many more people than your inner circle in high school, and I heard stories of people who came back from the war disillusioned about, what are we fighting for? I don't understand I don't understand why we're here. The military at that time was not looked favorably upon by particularly the youth in the country. Men and women who did heroic things and served our country well were not welcomed back as heroes, or many of them would not even wear their uniforms coming back into this country because they would be spit upon. They would be, people would chant, would say derogatory things to them. So it was a time of push and pull. It was a time of unrest. Thinking back before I came to chat with you also, I was in a sorority on campus, and one of my sorority sisters' brother-in-laws was missing in action, MIA. And she would pass out, I wish I still had it, she would pass out wristbands to wear to keep Charlie's memory alive, that the family was holding out hope that he was captured and somewhere in Southeast Asia and could eventually be brought back home. I don't believe they ever found him. He was a pilot, the plane went down. But there were those tugs at your heart as well. While you're protesting, how does Joan McCabe feel about these protests with her brother-in-law being missing in action? But I guess listening to the people protesting on campus, I would say that my foot was more in the camp of, why are we there? How many lives have we lost? What is the point of this? And again, the visual image that you would have from television of villages being burned and bombs being dropped and helicopters going in and the daily tally of number of lives lost. And I think it's different, like September 11th when we were attacked. Then you have a reason, you have a concrete, they came and did this to us, we have to stop that. World War II, Pearl Harbor, we have to answer to that because they showed aggression to us on our soil. Our American lives were lost. In Vietnam, we were going in under the name of keeping communism from spreading. And it's hard to get people to buy into that yes, I want to go risk my life in a country I've never heard of before, in an environment that is completely foreign to me. It's hard to keep morale up. It's hard to get American people to buy into that for years on end. People get war weary.
Can you